If you've been paying attention to the online money-making space in the last couple of months, you've definitely run into an article like this, or maybe this one, or maybe that one, or maybe some of these. You just can't escape them. Even your YouTube feed is probably filled with videos just like these. And all of them were posted within the last year. But does any of this really work? Could I also make money by selling cheap, probably AI-generated BS to strangers online? There's only one way to find out. I had to start selling too. Join me. Alright, I know the exact question on your mind right now. Oliver, how much money have you made? Well, 0. Actually, I'm down 26 euros. So, what happened? What went wrong? Did I mess up? Are all the articles wrong? Is it even possible to make money like this online? Well, folks, to be honest, I don't feel like I'm ready to answer that question just yet. First off, there 100% are a lot of people out there making tons of money with the exact methods that I've been trying over the past month. It just isn't as easy as everyone is making it out to be. Social media marketing, e-commerce are two incredibly saturated areas right now due to a combination of the very low barrier of entry and the huge social media push. A simple search of pretty much anything on Etsy and you're going to be hit by an absolute tidal wave of low effort, AI-generated creations that really can only be referred to as slop. And truthfully, absolutely nobody is going to buy any of it. When I created my store, I tried to rise above this. But to be honest, what I ended up making probably counts as the very same. I ended up trying to make a store that sells phone cases, despite the fact that I don't have one myself and probably need one. And on top of my phone cases, I too had the very same AI art. So yes, it really was the same slop. But like I said, I did try and put my own design elements onto my phone cases, so it isn't just purely sort of copy pasted off of the AI generator and then have that printed right onto the phone case and off directly it goes to the customer. I tried to put at least one step above that. But since I, like many who try and get into this, have zero product design experience, little if any experience with Photoshop, it really isn't that easy to design good products. Also, believe it or not, there really is an element of skill to crafting a proper prompt for these AI generators. And since I really don't have much more than a basic ability in that either, the results I got from my AI generations were, again, pretty basic. Furthermore, there is a whole other side to this online selling business that isn't as discussed as it should be, and that is how to properly set up your listings and your SEO. I assume most people don't emphasize it as much because it just isn't as sexy. It's a boring topic, it's a dense topic, it's frustrating to properly have to research every little thing to make your listing seem 1% more appealing to the algorithm gods than another one. It is dense, it is boring. But if you want your listings to rank better than your competition, you will have to learn how to make better listings and optimize your listings in terms of SEO. So again, are all of these online articles wrong? Are your favorite influencers lying to you? Not exactly. They're just not telling you the whole truth. It's important to remember that pretty much everything you see online is posted with an intention behind it. And more than likely, that intention is to sell you something. If you see people post easy income hacks or passive income somewhere online, more than likely, they're just not super nice people who are sharing their secrets with you. They are trying to sell you their course. They're making a video for a sponsor. Or in many cases, what they're trying to sell you could just be Hope. The hope of starting a successful business by yourself, the hope to one day have that financial freedom to be able to allow you to do whatever it is that you want to do. Or, they could just be actual grifters who are just lying to you for a paycheck. Looking at you, Joshua Mayo. Now, I'm not saying that all of these people are just inherently evil salesmen who are out trying to get a buck off you. Who knows? Some of their courses might be good. Maybe it's actually worth the money. But what I do know is if you're trying to sell people something, you're going to make that product seem as attainable, as realistic, and as easy to achieve as possible. After all, especially when it comes to content creation, the more appealing your content, the more successful your funnel towards whatever it is you're trying to sell. That's why if you're a person selling knowledge online, you are incentivized to not tell the entire truth, to maybe just make things seem a lot easier than they actually are, so that the average person really thinks that, hey, you know what, I don't need these 5, 6 assorted random skills to find actual success with whatever it is I am trying to do. But of course, you do. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I too read all of those articles. I too watched all of those YouTube videos. That's what inspired me to even start my shop, and that's what led to me making this video. Originally, this video was supposed to be a pretty generic 1-month update on my Etsy store, and I probably would have called it something like, I earned this amount of money on my Etsy store, or maybe something like, oh my god, I made so much money, free passively income hack on my Etsy store. Or maybe something like, oh my god, they're giving out free money to people over here. And basically, if you're not doing the exact thing I'm telling you in this video right now, you're stupid. I bet those videos probably wouldn't have gotten some pretty good views though. But basically, my own experience in the past month has inspired me to make this extended forward because there's just so much BS in the space. But anyways, let's finally take an actual look into my store and see what exactly I've done in the past month. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the actual shop I ended up making and the products that I started listing on it. So right here we can see an overview of my shop, Case Camp Co. Unfortunately, the name Case Camp was already taken, so we had to add a co. So I created this banner and a little logo. And if we scroll down here, we can see that I ended up making 39 designs for hard shell phone case, basically phone covers. So I made 39 designs because I used a referral code, which basically gave me 40 free listings when I opened up my Etsy store. The one listing is of course the one I opened with my store, which is basically just a filler listing. So let's go into a bit of the decision-making process while I was making my shop and my listings. I decided to go with customizable art phone cases. Why? Well, because the typical products that people recommend you start with being sort of custom t-shirts or maybe, custom mugs, I figured I would do things a bit different and would make custom phone cases. I figured the phone case niche would be a little less saturated, maybe, but what ended up in the end is it's basically just as saturated as any other niche on Etsy. Let's look into how I actually ended up creating my designs. So I made basically what is this right here, which is the design, and this would be printed onto a actual phone case. What happened here is basically I sourced my art on top via AI, in my case Starry AI, which you've probably not heard of before because I haven't either, but it's free, which is why I ended up using it. And so I would basically take this art and print it onto the canvas, and I added my own little twist in terms of design below by adding a sort of wood accent and a customizable name where people can put their name or their initials or whatever else they would want to put. So what I would do is I would take the art and I would try and match it with a different type of wood that I thought would better match the aesthetic or the color scheme that is present in the art. So in this case, we have a sort of spalted maple wood accent over a sort of lighter colored beigeish art piece. And in some other cases where it's darker, I had this wood instead. It's a darker wood to again complement darker designs. Now, I wouldn't just copy paste the actual art that I took from the AI and just put it on there. I actually would try my best to sort of go in and do things like adjust the colors, adjust highlights, maybe temperature if I wanted to make it look a bit different. Say I wanted it to be warmer, like this, I could potentially get 2 different designs out of this. So I did try and make the designs a bit more my own with the wood accent and a bit of color editing as well. So here we have Starry AI, which is the actual platform that I use to generate my art. To be honest, it is free, and that's why I think probably you're not going to get the best possible results out of this. And also, with that being said, I don't know how to get the best possible results out of this. I really can't do more than just craft the most basic of prompts, but we can see I'm going for quite a variety of mostly abstract art because I figured that would probably work the best. If we go on to, if I wanted to go less abstract, if I wanted human anatomy, or I guess cartoon anatomy, we can see there is a lot of struggling going on, and this renders pretty much completely unusable. Also, if we look at this part down here, we can actually see that there is a artist signature found in some of the stuff that you generate. So I don't really want to get into the ethics of using AI art or selling AI art, but I will say when you see stuff like this up here with the actual artist signature still being visible, you do feel a bit dirty. Of course, this is not something that I would ever use. Here we have yet another environmental art piece, and again you can literally just see the artist signature, in this case Alan Perry, in the generated work, so it doesn't really seem like it's changing very much, and that definitely does make you feel very much like you are stealing somebody's work. Of course, again, I did not use this. If we take a quick look at some of the competition when it comes to custom phone cases, I actually feel like I've noticed a bit of a trend. If we scroll down here, you might be able to tell that the vast majority of cases here are actually not really custom art. They're really more of a picture collage. So we see people are literally just taking your photo here, and people just want their own pictures printed on a phone case. So really, it's not much of a custom art. It's really just their own picture. So I feel like a lot of these cases, like here's another one right here, it's literally just your image here. And I feel like that actually reveals something about Etsy's customer base. Mind you, these are all best-selling items. Again, if we just look at this one, if we click on it, this item has sold 1,000, almost 500 times. And that means if 1 in 10 person on average leaves a review, this actually has sold about 15,000 times. And I think that sort of reveals something about the custom art phone case user base on Etsy. They're not really looking for custom art. So how did my shop actually do in terms of stats? If we look at my dashboard and the detailed stats, we can see throughout the entire shop's lifetime, I've received a total of 45 visits, the majority of which were in the last 2 months, which is when I was actively putting stuff and listing stuff on my shop. So at least I'm getting some traffic. Of course, no orders or sales yet, but I hope we will get there in the future. Yet another important aspect of setting up your shop on Etsy is pricing your items correctly. So again, if we look at the competition over here, mind you, all of these are best-selling items. We can see a massive range of pricing, from 33 euros to 16 euros, 23 euros, 14 euros, and even down to 13 euros. Considering that all of these are best-selling items, how should I price my items? To illustrate this, let's go ahead and use one of these Etsy calculators. So let's say I would be selling my items at a competitive price with one of the lower people, which was about 13 or 14 euros. So let's say I'm selling my item for 14 euros. So now we have to look at the cost of items and the cost of the actual printing and shipping. So I ended up using Printify with my shop, and this is the actual phone case that I went with, the Flexi case. I went with this one because of course there's a ton of product variants from all types of iPhones, and even if we scroll down, Samsung Galaxy S22, S10. So I felt that this product would be able to reach the maximum amount of customers potentially. So we can actually see the actual price it would cost me when I go ahead and order one of my items. One of these cases would cost me 9 euros and 10 cents. And assuming that the customer is in the United States, it will cost me a total of 5 euros and 14 cents to actually ship this item to them. So 9 euros for the actual item and 5 euros for shipping. So that's already 14 euros. So if we go back to my actual calculator and we put in the costs, we're going to know pretty quickly that I'm actually going to be losing money. Let's say that I actually priced myself higher, and they typically say, from what I gather on my research, is that you should price yourself at around a 30% profit margin. So assuming my costs for my item, including shipping, is 14 euros, to get around a 30% margin on this, I would have to price my items at 24 euros. So that is significantly more expensive than some of the competition. And mind you, that is best-selling competition with a lot of reviews already. If I want to sell at comparative prices to them, I would be making a loss. So what now? Well, actually, I think it's important to remember why I even tried to get into e-commerce and Etsy dropshipping in the first place. Why print on demand and why dropshipping? We all know that the market is saturated, but it is still growing. And that means there still very much is the chance for you to carve out a little piece of it all for yourself. The other options just didn't appeal to me as much. Things like social media marketing are even more involved and require so many other skills that I just don't feel comfortable trying as a first timer yet. Something like affiliate marketing relies on you having a larger audience, which I just don't have yet either. Comparatively, dropshipping does seem like the easiest option, but it is important to remember that it is the easiest to start with, and that does not mean that it's easy to succeed with. Dropshipping is not free to start. It costs money. Therefore, I set myself a little budget of about 250 euros at the start of all of this. Of course, now I am down to about 225 euros, but I think I am going to start using that to promote my business perhaps after I get a couple of better designs. I'll use some of Etsy's built-in marketing tools to draw traffic towards my shop and see if I can find any success with any of that. Furthermore, boosting the visibility of my shop will also give me the ability to be able to see which of my designs have the most interest and give me more of a clear direction on what sort of designs I should actually be making. I would have to say that the biggest hurdle that I'm facing with my shop right now is the lack of reviews. I know how absolutely essential it is to have good reviews and to have many reviews. Obviously, any shop with no reviews is going to have people thinking twice before even ordering anything in the first place. So it's a chicken and the egg type of situation. You need sales to get reviews. You don't have any reviews, you won't get any sales. I could, of course, still potentially switch over my entire shop to something that might be a bit more profitable, such as digital products, which technically are 100% profit because there's no real cost except for time associated with creating and sending the actual products in that case. So maybe that's something for me to look into as well. So looking back on the past month or so, I would have to say, yes, no sales is disappointing, but not unexpected. This is the first time I've dipped my toes into anything like this, so I've certainly been learning a lot, and there's intrinsic value in something like that too, of course. And with that, we've come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it and would like to know what happens in the future with my store, consider subscribing. If you've been considering opening an e-commerce store as well, or maybe your own Etsy shop, you will probably be able to learn a thing or two off of my future successes and more than likely my many failures before that. If you're watching this video because you too want to boost your own income or maybe start your own side hustle, why not watch this video right here in which I talk about how exactly I've been doing that for the several past months, all online. I'll put a link in the description and down below if you'd like to check that out. And with that, I guess that's the end. Thanks for watching, and as always, take care.